Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to today's Music Export webinar under the motto of Around the World. My name is Rianne Leuning and I work for Advantage Austria, which is the Austrian trade promotion organization that is active in the field of foreign trade, as well as innovation and knowledge transfer. Advantage Austria has about 100 offices in 70 countries and provides a broad range of intelligence and business development services for both Austrian companies and their international business partners. Within Advantage Austria, I am responsible for Creative Industries Export. In a nutshell, we support Austrian companies from the fields of design, interior, fashion, film, the arts and culture, and of course also music. And we support the companies when they want to export their products and services to any country outside of Austria. For this purpose, we have a very broad range of offerings, such as an extensive funding program. We also do a lot of individual coachings, and we also organize many events in Austria and abroad. Before we move on to our guest speakers of today, let me explain a little bit about what we as Advantage Austria, or AUSSENWIRTSCHAFT Austria in German, can do for Austrian companies that are working in the music industry. First of all, we have been organizing Austrian group presentations at leading music trade fairs, such as Jazz Ahead in Bremen, and also WOMEX, the World Music Expo, that takes place in different countries each year. For this and for everything else we do in the field of music, we closely work together with Austrian Music Export. We also organize B2B platforms where we try to connect Austrian entrepreneurs from the music business to international clients and partners. One example of such a platform where we have been active for many years already is one of the world's largest music and innovation festivals, which is called South by Southwest, that actually starts tomorrow in a digital format for the very first time. And we also put a strong focus on knowledge transfer, which means that we want to offer support when it comes to gaining insights in the music industry in relevant global markets, meaning that we provide information on opportunities and trends, as well as market know-how. And to facilitate this, we organize webinars, such as the one you are attending today, as well as other sessions at conferences, for example. We also offer a lot of individual support and consulting services through our network of global trade commissions, which ranges from technical questions about local law, visa, contracts, and taxes, but also when it comes to finding suitable partners, providing PR and marketing services, and organizing events. We also have an extensive funding program when you want to enter new international markets. And last but not least, we also can support you when it comes to building up your professional community through our network of international offices. And in today's case, especially through our office in Mexico, and of course, our head office in Vienna. And as I have mentioned before, all of this wouldn't have been possible without the partnership with Austrian Music Export. And I am really happy that Franz and Tatjana are here with us today as well. And I would now like to hand over to Franz and Tatjana. Welcome, Franz. Welcome, Tatjana.
Yes, hello also from my side. I'm Tatjana Domani from Austrian Music Export. As Rianne said already, we are a service organization for the Austrian music business. So we try to support artists as well as their companies like labels, agencies, managements, publishers, if they are interested in going abroad. We have for a very long time focused on the live market, and we have been active at events mostly in Europe. But now that we are all forced to stay at home, of course, we try to take a different route and find a way to keep up international connection for the Austrian music scene. Why Mexico? We looked into a lot of different markets. This is the first part of a series. So you can also join another webinar on Brazil in the next weeks, and also webinars on Asian and African markets. But Mexico continuously came up as one of the most exciting countries in Latin America. I was personally very stunned about the digital developments and the growth within the whole region. And we are very happy to have quite broad presentations today that will show you about the digital side of the business in Mexico, and as well as live opportunities. If sooner or later we will be able to take artists on the road again, and hopefully bring some over from Austria to a festival or a tour in Mexico. Thank you all for joining us, and especially thank you to our speakers for presenting the know-how and sharing the knowledge with us. I hope we can see you soon in real life. And I'm now heading over to Franz as well.
Thank you, Tatiana. Hello also from my side. Good morning, and at the same time, good afternoon. I think Tatiana said the most important thing. We're so eager to meet in person, but it will take a while. In the meantime, let me, for the Mexican attendants, I would like to mention also that one of our key missions is to provide access to information on Austrian artists and companies. If you have any questions on the Austrian music market, if you need any contacts, don't hesitate to get in touch. We're happy to help. The other thing I wanted to say is that when it comes to music export and entering new markets, I think information and preparation is key. So even if there's this horrible situation at the moment and there's travel restrictions, this won't prevent us from networking, exchanging knowledge, and getting well prepared for the time after this crisis. So I'm already very curious, and I think this is a very important initiative, and I really want to thank especially Rian for doing this with us, and you have the word back.
Thank you very much. I can only give this back to you because this wouldn't have been possible without you either. And I'm really looking forward to this series of webinars because this is just the kickoff. And but I won't take much more of your time now, and I think it's now time to travel to Mexico altogether and to get to know our speakers. And let me now hand over to my colleagues of our office in Mexico City, who will guide you through today. Nella Hengstler, whom you see now, is the Austrian Trade Commissioner for Mexico. And Sergio Loranca is the project manager who covers any creative topic. And we are really looking forward to today. Welcome, Nella and Sergio.
Thank you very much, Rianne. I'm really excited to be here today. A very good morning from Mexico City. This is where our Mexico office is. As Rianne already mentioned, we're basically the extended arm of Außenwirtschaft Austria, of our headquarters in Vienna. Außenwirtschaft Austria has 100 offices in 70 countries, as mentioned by Rianne. We're the one responsible for Mexico, but also Central America and Cuba. We're a rather large office. We have 8 people, including myself. For the last years, we've been very much focused, as in many countries, on the machinery exports. We have about 100 Austrian subsidiaries here, mostly catering to the machinery and automotive industry. So for us, it's a very interesting, also new field to look into the music industry in Mexico. And I think the same way that Mexico has become a really, really important market for the machinery exporters, I really hope this will happen with the creative industries and the music industry in particular as well. As already mentioned by Rianne as well, we are here to provide any kind of services for you. The services are largely for free. Please contact us, use us. We can help you make connections, find contacts, do research for you, set up individual meetings, especially in times like now where you can't travel very easily. We basically can create virtual business trips for you. Once you travel again, we help with logistics. There's really almost nothing we don't do, or we at least try to assist our companies, our member companies, as best as we can. So do feel free to get in touch with us with any questions you have, with any assistance you might want with exploring the Mexican market. And as Rianne already mentioned, here is my colleague Sergio Loranca, who is our key account manager for creative industries and music, among other things, and he will guide us through the webinar today. Sergio, over to you.
Thank you very much, Nela, for that great introduction. It is also my pleasure to welcome all of our participants today to our webinar. As Rianne already mentioned, my name is Sergio Loranca, and I'm the key account manager at the Austrian Business Center in Mexico City, and I'm responsible for the music industry sector. Before I give the word to our local experts, I would like to share with you some basic information regarding the Mexican music industry. As you may know, Mexico has the biggest music industry market in Latin America, and in terms of income, it comes just in second place after Brazil. It's an industry that has shown a lot of growth and potential in the last decades, and this is due to the fact that the middle class in Mexico is willing to invest in several entertainment experiences. Mexicans are avid consumers of cultural products, and this has been a key factor of the success of this industry. In musical terms, the Mexican taste varies widely. From punk to reggaeton, we can find a consumer for almost every gender. However, there is a strong tendency towards the local productions. Among the most listened genres in Mexico, we can find banda, ranchero, norteña, as well as salsa and reggaeton. To give you an idea of the musical taste of the Mexicans, here are the 5 most listened artists in Mexico during 2020. We can find names like J Balvin, Dua Lipa, Cristian Nodal, Shakira, and Ana Paola. This is just a small glimpse of the industry, but I wouldn't like to go into the subject in detail. For this purpose, I think it will be better if we hear personally from our experts. Our first speaker today is Ana Rodriguez. I would like to share with you some information regarding her professional experience. Ana is a music manager with experience in communication, business, and management, and currently she's the co-president of the International Music Managers Forum in Mexico. She's a trained communicator with a major in artist management from Berklee College of Music, and in 2003, she, together with her colleagues, formed a band named Trucker. It's a Mexican instrumental jazz rock band that focuses on musical exploration without labels. Alongside music and art, Ana is a management consultant and a member of the board of directors of a merchandise company. So, without further ado, I would like to hand over to Ana. She will give us a presentation about the political and cultural context of the music industry in Mexico and the general opportunities and challenges for foreign artists. So Ana, the forum is yours.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me here. So I am really pleased to share all this information with you. I'll do the presentation for you guys, and hopefully this will be useful for everyone. So this is an overview, okay? There is a lot of information. You also will find some information within the presentations of all my colleagues here present that it might repeat a little bit. We'll try to jump into new things to say, but well, that being said, I would like to start with the general overview. So first of all, I have to say Mexico is the champion of the digital music market. The CSAC has disclosed that nearly half of the income from music in Mexico comes from digital, which means that it has the highest share of digital music on the global list of the 20 leading markets. Currently, Mexico represents one of the 4 countries with the largest numbers of users in Spotify. Therefore, Spotify first awards were held in Mexico City back in 2018 and cataloged that year Mexico as the mecca of the streaming world. In 2019, the IFPI listening survey, it revealed that 90% of the consumers studied in Mexico had used their smartphones to listen to music. By 2024, with the bandwidth expanded up to 87% of the population, this means it will be an excellent landscape for the projection of the digital music business. As for streaming concerts, this is an option that still in adaptation phase, but we know that it's here to stay, and we are sure that Mexico will adopt it. In an article I was reading a couple of weeks ago, a promoter from Ireland mentioned that the streaming is supplying the DVD, a market that it was larger darkened due to the use of smartphones. So we'll see. Okay, the share of the music in the streaming market. We know Spotify is huge in Mexico. A new study just circulated like a month ago, claiming that the company has more than 80% of the share in the music streaming market here. Automatically, this positioned YouTube in the second place with the 5.1%. But for Mexico, we can't dismiss that the fact is that people love and prefer to look and discover music in YouTube. And that is the reason why I added on like the separate platforms in these two services. So I put it's Google. So this part from YouTube is not considering the whole platform, is talking about YouTube Music. So I hope it's clear. So music consumption habits, this is exciting. According to the last IFPI report, the majority of Mexicans consider themselves music lovers. So furthermore, the average of Mexican spends listening to music, it's 25.6 hours a week, which places Mexico as one of the world's leading consumers of music. As I said before, YouTube is preferred to listening to music, followed by all the paid platforms, streaming platform, radio, and fourth, it's through purchased music. When we speak about music genres globally on YouTube, as Sergio just mentioned in the introduction, Mexican regional music, it's on the first place. The growth on YouTube, globally speaking, of Mexican regional music was 30.4%, followed by rap with the 30.17%. Many Mexican artists from regional music behave on the platform similar to world phenomena like Bruno Mars or Taylor Swift. So according to a survey conducted by the National Autonomous University of Mexico, UNAM, listening to music or watching music videos is what most Mexicans did during 2020. With this scene, Mexico has become a desired territory for global music industry. The exciting thing is that the consumption of regional genres such as banda, mariachi, corridos are top on the popularity charts. DSERT also reports that these playlists are consistently #1 playlist in Mexico, above reggaeton or pop. Mexico, this is important just to get a sense of all the opportunities that are out there for you as international artists in Mexico. Mexico operates under a federal model of entities where the secretariats of culture of each state must guarantee the financing and creative projects, but also promote the development of culture among the population, which means that the cultural initiatives are vast and diverse. We have 32 states in Mexico, and every state has their cultural festivals. Talking about national numbers, we have 161 book fairs. Almost all of them present music. We have 638 cultural festivals, and from those, we're talking about 133 only for music. So, and also there's a lot of traditional festivities in every corner in the country, which they will present cultural content and live music. So talking about the live music sector, although we know it depends on the vaccination to think about live music return, we believe that Mexico will gain the power that it had. So historically, festivals, venues, and promoters have reached top places in ticket sales and income, globally speaking, and the infrastructure to host large format concerts is enormous. So comparing the Polestar figures in 2019 with 2020, we can see that the country's largest promoter went from generating $240 million to building the third part in 2020. Photosol managed to stay in the first place in the stadium category, for example, with the highest ticket sale worldwide, despite losing 25% of its sales. So others like Fundidora Park in Monterrey were left out of the top 50 in the same category. In 2019, they were on the 24th place, but we're sure they're coming back. So we have to find ways to support the venues. Counting the damages is still in process. In Mexico, there are essential touring circuits in at least 3 main cities and their surroundings that supports all kind of artists. I'm sure my colleagues will dig deeper in this part. Let's talk a little bit about the main players in the Mexican music industry. So starting with promoters, 2 of the top 10 promoters in the world are Mexicans, that is Ocesa and Signalife. Consequently, this is one of the industry's best developer sectors, which translates into a wide variety of players from the major leagues through the institutions such as the University of Guadalajara and many other small promoters and smaller companies. We still, as I said, cannot measure the impact of COVID right now, but we know they are huge as many markets. Some of the players with financial possibilities have invested in developing platforms from streaming concerts such as Streamtime, Ticket, Sala Estelar, OXXO Live, and Ticketmaster Live. So we have also a variety of options for streaming concerts. Talking about venues, until 2019, Mexico was an excellent place for live music. As I said, we had stadiums, large public and private theaters, convention centers, and endless clubs, bars with live music, providing the perfect ecosystem for events that could gather 40,000 fans or a few hundred. On the festival side, the festival business in the country is also enormous. Among private events that have repeatedly appear in the top 20 list of ticket sales globally, we have Corona Capital, Electric Daisies Carnival, Vive Latino, Par Norte, many more, but that's not all. There are smaller festivals, niche festivals like Normal or Mutec or Tropico, Vaidora, which present a wide variety of global music. So now speaking about managers, during the International Music Fair for Professionals, FIMPRO, in September 2020, we gathered the first associations of music managers of Mexico, MMF MX, and it was formed with managers of all sizes from all around the country. We hope this is still growing, but one of their first action will be to form together with its peers in the United States and Canada, the North American Regional Council for the IMMF. Simultaneously, MMF Mexico will develop a communication campaign with their artists to support vaccination efforts in Mexico. Talking about distributors, leading distributors have presence in Mexico, either with offices or representatives. We're talking about Dito, Altafonte, The Orchard, 1RPM, Believe, CD Baby, District Kid, Cassette, Amuse, Symphonic, In-Groups, Ada, everyone is here. So in this sense, the offer is congruent to the demand that we have in Mexico. Finally, music fairs. Sergio, my colleague from FIMPRO, I'm sure will speak more about it, but the offer of professional industry events is relatively small compared to the size of the Mexican industry. FIMPRO, which is organized by the University of Guadalajara, and MUDAL, which is an event that emerged in 2020. It's a virtual conference and space to share ideas and trends for the management of musical projects, are the ones leading this sector. On the public side, we have Enartes, which is focused on performing arts and other spectrum, and Expo Soundcheck, which aims to promote and sell audio equipment. That's mostly it for us within the music fair sector. Talking about publishing, today's Latin American repertory is available to the world in significant volume, mainly due to the growth of license with local and international digital platforms. Mexico, Argentina, and Brazil lead these collections. The Society of Authors and Composers of Mexico, SACEM, is the royalty management entity for collecting public performances and mechanical rights. So Mexfon collects royalties for the public use of recorded music. Affiliated to CISAC, our PRO reports that more than 700 publishers are registered today, although this business is centralized and focused on a few. The fact is that this is a business potential and it's on the rise. In 2018, SACEM designed a one-stop shop with music publishers to facilitate the licensing of repertory to DSPs. On the other hand, producers of phonograms have the support of Amprophone, which is our Mexican Association of Producers of Phonograms and Videograms. That represents the rights and the interest of producers of recording, carrying out negotiations with other authorities and international organizations such as IFPI. Now, talking about challenges and opportunities, the pandemic obviously impacted in reveal fundamental changes in need in the country in terms of associativity, management, and protection of the rights of the workers in the music industry. In this sense, I just want to share with you that last year, an initiative was launched by Amprophone, Cultura, UDG, FIMPRO, Relatable, and Cassette, called Music Mexico COVID-19, and very other companies have joined. And this initiative seeks to give response to this exceptional situation through 3 lines of action. I'm talking about information, evaluation, and assistance. So far, we have provided financial support to musicians and technicians and promote the organization of the sector and raise awareness of the value of the industry in the social fabric of Mexico. On the public side, there will be this national meeting for the agreement in favor of Mexican artists, which was recently announced, and it had never happened before that the Mexican industry dialogues with the legislative power. So this is promising. They're seeking economic reactivation, reviewing working conditions, and the professionalization of the sector. So although COVID-19 is generating changes in the relationship between live music and recorded music. During May last year, the financial experts Goldman Sachs updated by 25% their projections on the music industry growth. They're saying that by 2030, live recording and publishing will double in size up to $131 billion. So that being said, Mexico for many years had been considered an influential cultural force through the Latin American region. And also we are the Spanish-speaking country with the largest population, mass consumers of music, and we have the necessary infrastructure to sustain the global economic growth projected for the music industry. So I think we'll be back. I hope this was useful for everyone, and it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much. I hand it back to my colleague Sergio.
Thank you very much, Ana, for that very interesting presentation. So moving on with our program, our next speaker today is Mr. Robbie Lear. Robbie heads a music management agency called The Gira, which does label and booking services and also events for the college community in Mexico. And Robbie has worked in the music industry in Latin America for over 20 years, including jobs in Sony, Universal, Warner Music, One RPM, Believe Music Distribution, plus a stint in Claro Música. And today, Robbie will talk about the networking, booking, and marketing in the music industry. So Robbie, whenever you want to start, you got the word.
Thank you very much, Sergio. Good to meet you guys. Yes, as Sergio was saying, I've worked in the music industry for about 20 years. I'm half Argentine and half British, and my wife and kids are Mexican, so that makes me a very weird mixture. And I've had experience of working. I started my career in Argentina, then moved to Mexico for a couple of years in record labels, and then with Universal Music moved to Miami and saw Latin America, Spain, and Portugal, all the marketing, international marketing strategies for all of our Latin artists. So that view of Latin America, Spain, and Portugal helped me understand the importance of the Mexican market and how key Mexico is in terms of a music market, comparing it to all those other markets that I mentioned. So thank you, Ana. That was such a good, deep summary of how Mexico is working and how it's growing. And I thought this photo represents very well how fertile the Mexican market is, the Mexican music market, and how crazy it is, or it can be at the same time, and also how everything is possible in Mexico when you're thinking about music, because it's a land of huge opportunity, huge consumers. And as Ana was saying, the consumers in Mexico love to consume Mexico. They're very music. They're very fanatical about consuming music. During my career, I've worked with many different artists, very varied artists. So it's helped me to gain that perspective as to the different angles and ideas of how to work in a Mexican market. And as I was saying before, all this has reaffirmed how key Mexico is in the music market in general. The population is huge, so it's big numbers, but also it's separated. Obviously, in Mexico City, there's 20 million people. It's humongous. And if you count all the surrounding state of Mexico, which are areas of just 1 hour away, or etc., it really is a very concentrated market. There is and has been very much of a centralized movement, but that has been opening up a lot. And there's cities like Monterrey that you can see, and Guadalajara, that have a population of 5 million people, and a very good live show market, venues, festivals, etc. Then you've got a Puebla that has over 3 million people in population. And there also you've got 2 huge festivals, local festivities, and very good varied venues, from places to play for 100, 200, 500 people to 3,000 people to the festivals that cater for around over 50,000 people. So you could really think of strategies of Mexico as a country, but also individually as cities. Then you've got Toluca, which is only an hour away from the city, that has over 2.4 million and has a very good venue for 2,000 people. Tijuana, all the way up north, just south of the border with the US, has a population of 2 million and has a variety of venues, and also has an important festival called Peninsula, and also more local cultural, etc. festivals. As Ana was saying, that usually in Mexico, all those book fairs and cultural festivals have a big ingredient of music inside. León, which is about 6-7 hours outside of Mexico City, is a central part of a region called El Bajío, which also caters for a very large musical audience. And each of those cities have their local fairs, etc. León has one of the most important fairs of the country every January, and there it's got a variety of music shows, etc. So very, very interesting market. And Querétaro, which is the other city within that region of the Bajío, 1.6 million, a city that's growing a lot recently, with a lot of people moving out of Mexico City to Querétaro to like decentralize. And it's developing into a very interesting university city. So both Querétaro and Puebla are two very interesting university cities. Then just summarizing a lot of this, Ana already mentioned, but just summarizing, as she mentioned, on average, a Mexican listens to over 25 hours a week versus 18 hours in the rest of the world. So there you can see how much more music consuming the Mexican fans are. The live market is key, as Ana was mentioning. I just wrote down about 250 cultural festivals. I think there's much more than that. But it gives you a perspective of, depending what genre of music you are inclined to, you'll find the right festival, the right event in Mexico. It's just a question of understanding that. And the 4 key markets for the live, as you could see from my previous slide, are Mexico City, Guadalajara, Monterrey, and Puebla. But it's the choice of the artist whether you go towards the other cities. Very often international artists that break big before coming to Mexico will probably play just Mexico City, Guadalajara, and Monterrey. Maybe they'll reach Puebla. But if you are an artist that isn't yet so big, but you want to focus on the Mexican market, it's well worth working those other cities as well that I showed you in the other slide. And there's a very good circuit to go developing there. In the streaming market, the revenues of the general market in Mexico is over $180 million. It had a 17% growth between 2018 and 2019, and it's calculated that from 19 to 20, it would have grown another at least 10%. 86% from that is streaming, so it's very digital. And there's 80 million Spotify active users in Mexico. So this is all just re-emphasizing what Ana was saying. And very often with a lot of international artists, you'll see in their top 5 cities in Spotify, you will see Mexico City as the number 1, because it's a very high consumption market, both on Spotify and on YouTube. And it is the 12th largest streaming market in the world. It's interesting because before the explosion of streaming, Mexico was always, since the mid-90s, a very important live music market. But for the sales of CDs, because more than 80% of the CD sales were pirate, it was a very poor market for the recorded industry. But since the growth of streaming from 2014 onwards, the market has grown and grown. And now for an international artist, you will be able to manage a great strategy, not only live, but also on the streaming side, on the recorded side. And all those details that Ana was giving about the publishing market, etc. Also on the merchandising front. So really, Mexico, you can always see it and build your strategy, thinking about the different lines of income, of revenues, from live to streaming, to publishing, to merchandising, and sponsorships are very big in Mexico. As you go positioning yourself in Mexico, a lot of brands are very willing to position themselves with the market, with the music market, with the artists, celebrities, using songs for syncs, commercials, etc., etc. So as we go to the next slide, in my agency, we work with local artists. We've got Enjambre, which is a rock band that has filled out the 16,000-seater Palacio de los Deportes, for example, and plays in most of the important festivals in Mexico, etc. And we've got a couple of developing artists, some that we have signed to major labels, some that we are the label itself. And in Mexico, if you are independent or with a major label, there's always ways to work your artist, because as an independent, there are a number of independent PR media agencies that can manage all that side of work for one just by paying a monthly fee. There's a lot of digital marketing agencies that can develop your digital marketing side. And I just wanted to give you a couple of examples because we manage our own artists, but also we book artists from Spain and from Argentina and other countries into Mexico. And we also do label services and artist services, which is developing the marketing campaign and the positioning of the artist within the Mexican market. And I thought it would be a good idea for you to understand that through the example of an artist that we work. There's a chap that you could see here called Carlos Sadness. He's from Sony Music Spain. And we started working him 5 years ago, first of all, as artist services. So we developed the marketing strategy to go positioning him in the Mexican market. But parallel to that, he had already been working very strongly his socials to be able to position himself with the Mexican market through his socials. And that's an important thing that you have to consider. And there is to know the market, understand the market, understand the time difference as well, of something as basic as what time to be posting for Mexico, which could be very different hours from the European time zone, etc. So we started working that side. And his development through his socials had already generated a basis. And a lot of the people that discovered Sadness discovered him through YouTube. So very important focus on developing obviously your socials such as Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and now TikTok, as in all the world, in Mexico, has grown exponentially. And a lot of hits are starting to be birthed within Twitter. Within TikTok, and the use of TikTok influencers as well. There's a big market there where you can target Mexican TikTok influencers to be able to help you working your artist. So that's how we started with Carlos Sadness. And the first show we did was in a 1,000-seater Lunario theater. Then, and parallelly, we did the Vive Latino Festival and a festival in Monterrey called the Pal Norte. And we did smaller shows between 200 and 500 people in the cities that you saw in my list. It's between 8 and 10 cities where we were doing those shows. And he's the example of a medium-sized artist that decided to use Mexico as his focus rather than just come here when he was big in Spain and just do Mexico City, Monterrey, and Guadalajara. So he went growing, and we went growing him. And the next year we did the 2,000-seater Plaza Condesa in Mexico City, and the equivalent in Guadalajara, and the equivalent in Monterrey, and more festivals around it, and the tour of those cities like Toluca, Querétaro, León, etc. And then the third year, we did the Teatro Metropolitan for 3,200 people. So we go from 1,000, 2,000, 3,200. And last October, we had booked the Pepsi Center for 7,000 people. But obviously, due to the pandemic, we weren't able to do that. But how you can trace a strategy, thinking about the marketing and working your socials well and working the PR and the media side strongly. And at the same time, your live show strategy where you can start small and go growing, putting an objective for maybe 3 or 4 years. Next year, we're thinking of doing the Auditorio Nacional, which is for 10,000 people. But parallelly, he's done over 10 festivals throughout his different visits. Another very important ingredient is partnerships. For artists from Austria to look for Mexican artists that are similar to what they are doing and target them to propose the opportunity either of doing featurings, collaborations. Sadness did a very good collaboration with an artist from Mexico called Caloncho, and that helped him penetrate the Mexican market. Then as that worked well, they did a co-headlining tour where Sadness was opening shows for Caloncho in strategic cities in Mexico, working in partnership with those managers to be able to look for those opportunities to open shows or co-headline shows with local artists. Then now more recently, Carlos Sadness has done a featuring with a very young and up and coming artist called Bratty, but also another one called Bruce's, who came from TikTok, and they orchestrated a thing where she asked Carlos Sadness, hey, I'm your fan, I want to do a duo with you. And it all started in TikTok, and then it permeated into Spotify, YouTube, and the other places. So you've got a lot of tools to be able to work the Mexican market. And another point that has been key with Carlos Sadness is consistency. He's been visiting Mexico in the last probably 4 to 5 years, twice a year. In the first half of the year, we'll do promo and certain shows, and the second half of the year, we'll do another batch of promo and set of shows. Because Mexico, as you can see, it's such a big market. It's very important to keep consistently present in that market, because as it's such a big market, all the artists from Europe, from the US, from the rest of Latin America, etc., are always coming into Mexico. So there's a very big offer of artists coming into Mexico. So you have to make sure you deal with it in a consistent fashion, paying attention to your consumer base. If you leave it aside for some time, then it's very possible that you're gonna lose those people. The fans in Mexico are very, very, in general, very faithful. But yes, as there's so much offer, you have to be consistent and give those fans what they want and treat them and be with them both on your socials and with those constant visits in a solid way. This is the festival in Monterrey, for example, the Pal Norte, which you can see here, what a huge amount of people. It was more than 70,000 people per day. There we had our band in Cambre, also Carlos Sadness, etc. So there's a lot of space to work the Mexican market. I hope that overview helps you to understand and see all those different things that one has to be working. Obviously, then it's you have to build that strategy. I like to put objectives, as I was saying before, to 2-3 years, and then build the backbone with different visits, different shows, festivals, partnerships, etc. Promo, keeping that consistent socials connection with your fans, and then growing step by step. Obviously, if you have big artists, it becomes much easier and everyone opens up. But media, etc., are open to artists that are developing from all over the world in Mexico. It's a very open-armed country where they receive artists and people from abroad in a very friendly way. But then you have to make the most out of that and treat the Mexican market well. Learn about the culture as well, because very often Mexicans will very clearly know if the artist is just saying, oh yes, I just like tacos and burritos, they will know that is just something very superficial and that they don't know the market in depth. So another thing is also to train the artist to really be interested in the market and learn about the culture, about the music market, about what Mexico is, and all of that transmits and permeates to your audience. Okay, so that's basically what I wanted to share with you. I hope we can connect at the Q&A session. And now Sergio has a vast and very interesting knowledge that he's going to be sharing with you. So thank you very much, Sergio, and God bless you all.
Thank you, Robbie, for that very interesting and for sure explanatory presentation. And we will now proceed to our last speaker of the day. Our next speaker is Mr. Sergio Arbeláez. Sergio is the director of FIMPRO Guadalajara. He holds a master's certificate in business from the Berkeley University, and is also the director of academic content for Circularte in Colombia, which is an independent music platform which is responsible for international presence of Colombia in markets such as Womex. Overall, he has more than 18 years of experience in music management, and today he will talk about the opportunities and possibilities for foreign artists at festivals like FIMPRO Guadalajara and the general live music scene. So, Sergio, whenever you're ready, we could start with your presentation.
Hola, hi everyone. Well, I just impressive about the good presentations from Robbie and Ana. I think they give us a lot of context about Mexico, so I will skip my part of the context, and I will try to focus on the trends and the gathering points, like the question, trying to answer the question. Okay, very interesting. After the presentations of Robbie and Ana, I'm interested in the Mexican market, so how I can go there, no? So that will be my presentation. I work for the University of Guadalajara. Is one of the most important institutions for the culture in Mexico. They organize also the Book Fair of Guadalajara, who is the second in terms of business for the publishing sector in the world, and the first one for the Spanish spoken language. Also the film festival, and who has 2 years doing, and now we have this music fair, who is becoming one of the most important music fairs in the region right now. So I don't have like a lot of things to add about the presentation of Robbie and Ana. I think that there is like some important things. I think Robbie mentioned like the seasons of the year, like artists like Carlos Sadness come to Mexico 2 times of the year. I think it's important to mention the seasons. I think the seasons for concerts start in March to May, and then start again in October, December, because in between in the summer in Mexico there is a very rainy, so there is not a lot of festivals to happen between June, July, and August. So September start to be coming again, and September, October, because it's the raining season. It's summer, but it's the raining season. So I think it's also important to consider that. The other thing I think is the frontier with the United States. Is interesting that this is a huge frontier, and there is also like for the Latino market, it's like also a gate to go to the Latin. I think the Latin population in Mexico, especially the second generation, is very interesting because they are more open to new songs, no? So I think the Latinx population from Mexico in the United States is also a very interesting market who is connected with the country. So as I promised you, I will skip all this context because I think my partners do it very well. So I try to focus in the trends. As Ana said, I think a new music boom is coming, no? Ana told us about this Goldman Sachs report to predict that will be an exponential growth of the music business in the next years. And I think the people need to sing and dance. Here in Mexico, there is a survey that so many people want to come back to the concerts, no? I think, to be honest, we don't know, and we have, after the pandemic, we have this, of course, like the comeback will be, I think, more slow than in other countries. Some promoters think that will be at the end of this year, but others make the bets for the next year, 2022. So there is another interesting thing that is happening, I think, in all the world and in Mexico, and it's, well, the live stream and the hybrid events. The last year start to appear a lot of live stream platforms, and I think the hybrid events come to stay. So I think we have an opportunity there, and I think at this moment it's also an opportunity to connect with the Mexican market. Like Robbie says, like try to find some artists, collaborate with Mexican artists. Will be interesting to make some things in live stream, at least for this time. But for the next year, I think the events will be hybrid for sure. Also, the growing of niche is very interesting. How a lot of niches are growing up very fast with this pandemic, and of course, more international connection through digital platforms. It's very interesting because the Mexican market is very focused in the United States and his own market. There is not a lot of international Mexican artists because they have two huge markets now. The United States market is huge, and the Mexican market also. So there is not a lot of Mexican artists very interested in touring in Europe and even in Latin America. So, but I think for the independent artists, these digital platforms and these digital connections can help them to connect more with the world, with the Asian market, with the European market. And I think this will open an opportunity to collaborate and create more audience for the international audience, for the international artists here in Mexico and the Mexican artists abroad. So, like I told you, there is a lot of new live stream platforms here in Mexico. Ticketmaster opened his own live stream platform, Boletia. These two are usually like a ticket sellers, but they like make this digital transformation to create these digital rooms, and works very well because they have large database of people who want to consume music. No, Sala Estelar was a room, a digital live stream platform created for Podaca music group. Stream Time is also a very interesting one. We as an institution, Cultura ODG, we have our own platform that the name is Cultura ODG, and we have also a huge venue that the name is Conjunto Santander, and we have our own digital room for that. There is another interesting experience. I think in the next days will be held the Pal Norte Festival in a 360 degrees environment that will be very interesting. And we have also the University of Guadalajara. We create like a version in 3D for our venues, and we made the film festival the last year who was in a virtual version in this 3D environment. And well, I think other experience will be start to happen in the Mexican market like in the world. Now I just want to invite you to see and talk more about FIMPRO, and we can see a video when was a physical version. So if we can present the video, and I will tell you a little more about FIMPRO.
Siempre uno piensa en proceso creativo en la inspiración.
Esa explosión, pero de buena energía que quiere transmitirle a mucha gente.
Siempre empieza con una historia personal.
Juntando la melodía y las palabras hasta tomar una forma.
Expresar mis sentires, mis vivencias.
Se abre esa grieta
y es por donde entra esa comunicación.
No nací con el don de la creación musical, pero apoyando en lo que pueda la creación y sobre todo la difusión.
El objetivo es desarrollar algo para honrar a una pasión.
Yo he pasado por momentos difíciles y yo sé que sin la música, no sé.
Es algo tan necesario para curar el alma.
Y no pude dejar de hacer música desde entonces.
Como devolverle a la música con más música.
Lo que me da la música y también lo que quiero pelear cada día para que la música siga existiendo de la mejor manera posible.
Descubrir bandas nuevas, conocer a gente de la industria.
Las nuevas generaciones de promotores culturales, de profesionales.
Bravo para Guadalajara por creer en el arte.
Sí sé que Diego Luna va a estar aquí en el ISPA. Y como salió en la Guerra de las Galaxias, me gustaría conocerlo.
Y un dato que casi nadie en Guadalajara sabe, aquí se come la mejor carne del mundo en un restaurante, no voy a decir el nombre para no hacer publicidad, pero una parrillada mejor que la de Argentina, lo que ya es mucho decir.
La gente baila muy fácil, no muy bien, pero muy fácil.
Okay, this is like a little bit taste of FIMPRO, and well, as you know, is a networking event. It's more than a festival. It's a networking event like WOMEX, Reeperbahn Festival, or Neben. It's a music conference that is becoming one of the most important conferences in the region. And well, it's like, okay, if I want to go to the Mexican market, I think it's a good gathering point because you can find a lot of managers, bookers, festivals, labels, and people that you can network from Mexico, Latin America, and especially we are especially focused in the North American market. So Mexico, Canada, and United States. So it's like this event can offer for you. It's like trends, understand the Mexican market, and have the right connections and the right people. Like Robbie says, it's very important. Like try to find the right partner here in Mexico because it's a huge market, and of course there is a lot of issues and topics that you have in mind, no? And you need like a guide or a partner here to develop better the market, a partner for the PR and press, a partner for the booking, and all these things. And I think it's like go inside a new market has this special and these needs, no? And it's important also mention that there is another gathering point in Mexico. Other gathering point in Mexico, I think the festivals start to become a gathering point. Of course, it's better if you come with an artist or you come to the sites and the VIP section or the section where are the professionals. But the biggest festivals in Mexico, like Vive Latino or like Pal Norte Fest, has these areas only for artists and his managers and become like a very important networking space. Also, the normal festival they use to make for more independent artists and for more like trendy and emerging artists. Normal has also another conference who was very interesting to connect with people who is focused in emerging and independent artists. In artists is like the government and is more focused in the cultural side, performing arts and all these things, no? And there is another one that I forgot to put in my list, that is the Marvin Festival. They also has conference and like a gathering point to the professionals from Mexico and international professionals. So I think is besides FIMPRO, I think this could be the good points to meet the right people to go inside the Mexican market, because as Robbie and Ana said, it's a very interesting market. There is a lot of artists who come to Mexico and develop a huge career. I think I have in my mind, of course, more Latin artists, like Caligaris. They start to make a huge development here. I think they spend 10 years, but these 10 years take like, at this moment, they sold like 70,000 tickets. So I think it's very profitable, and you have a huge opportunity if you do the things well and develop your audience. And as Robbie very pointed very well, like you combine the professional sector, the audience, and the press. So I think it's better make this presentation and all the presentation a conversation. So I wait for the questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sergio. That was an excellent presentation and very interesting video as well. Unfortunately, we're running out of time for our Q&A session. However, I think we still got time for a couple of questions, or just one. If all the speakers, Robbie and Ana, could turn their cameras on again, please. Thank you. So this is a question for Ana. What percentage of the rights of the national music in Mexico is owned by the major labels?
I think I'll ask Robbie and Sergio to help me with the answer, because I don't have like a specific number. I will not like to say something that is not true. The only thing that I would like to point out is that two things. COVID-19 changed the landscape for everyone, and it's the first time that through an initiative like the one that I mentioned, Música México COVID-19, that we are seated on the same table, the independent music scene and the major music scene. So yeah, I think there's opportunity for everyone. I think if we keep this conversation going on between the two parts, the independent and the major part, our music ecosystem will just get stronger, and it will be easier for us to have a landscape diverse enough. And yeah, I think that's what I'll say. Robbie, I don't know if you know a percentage.
I would calculate that majors have about 80% of the market. I don't know, Sergio, if you've got actual figures. That's not based on anything. It's just
I listened from memo from the director of Amplifon that it was 90 the last year.
90.
No, 70.
70, like the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. I would like to remind all of our participants that if you could please tell us to whom are you addressing the question, that would be great. Yeah, the next question is from Miss Charming Sandy. How does it work with artist visa for Austrian bands in Mexico? He didn't say for whom it was the question, but I don't know if he would like to specify, or someone would like to take over.
I'll say Robbie, since he has been working with international artists. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, Robbie.
Yeah. For example, when you come for promotion, you can come in with your tourist visa, no problem. And when it shows, it varies. It's quite flexible. I don't know if Ana and Sergio have any other experiences, but sometimes with a letter from the promoter explaining that they are not receiving money in Mexico, very often artists are able to come in and not have a work visa here. But I don't know what your experience has been, Ana or Sergio.
Yes, to be honest, it's very Well, I think it's very different when you tour in Mexico and you do it with a major festival, because the major festivals are very cared here. So it's different when you go to the States, because you are touring and you do everything by your own. But here, everything is cared about, almost everything, no? The visa, the local transportation, everything. Yes, we try everyone like a superstar. So I think almost when you come with a major festival or a governmental festival, you have the visa without any problem, like a cultural visa. And almost the Vive Latino Festival make cultural visas, but yes, it's not very complicated system.
Not at all.
Maybe if I can say at this point, this is also something we can help you with. I mean, we obviously don't obviously visas. The Mexican embassy in Vienna would do that for artists based in Austria. But we will look into the legal requirements and look into the practicalities, and you can direct if and when you plan to come, please let us know. We'll assist you. Sure.
Great.
Yes, I think it's very, very different when you come for a festival, when you come for a tour. When you come for a tour, it's different. If you come for a venue tour, it's better that you have like a proper visa, working visa, artist visa, whatever. But when you come up to for a festival, it's more easy.
Great, so that will be for that question. And well, this is not a question, but it's just a comment from Mr. Ackerman. Dear sirs, we have a music catalog that could be interesting for Mexican distributors. So we are interested in a list of distributors who do physical distribution of CD and vinyl records in Mexico. We'll be ready to receive this list by email. Thank you very much, Stefan Ackerman, Polygraph Music Austria. Yes, I can share this information with the other speakers. Okay, so. And I think that for the networking, for the Export Austria will be offering individual appointments. So that will be a much easier way to address to each speaker. I don't know if you would like to say something extra, Tatiana. So.
Yes, if anyone from the audience is interested in getting in touch directly, we are happy to play the middleman and connect you. So please just get in touch with us or Rian per email and just tell us what your needs are, what your project is about. If you need more information, if you need financial support, and how we can help and connect you with the right people. Maybe in general, also let us know if you are interested in going to Mexico in real life as soon as it's possible. We are happy to collect interest and form a delegation and get in touch with, for example, events like FIMPRO or Normal or Marvin Festival to make a first-hand look at Mexico in the real world.
I know it's not my role in this, but I also have a short question, if I may. How important, or is it important at all, to speak Spanish to enter the Mexican market? If I go to FIMPRO, are all the panels in Spanish? The media, will they talk to me in English? How is it? Whoever.
Well, I think of course it's better if you speak Spanish. We are like we have the frontier, the biggest frontier with the United States. There is a lot of people who speak English, but of course it's better if you speak Spanish, because yes, I think also it's very impressive how the Spanish spoken music is consumed here in Mexico. It's huge. It's even huge, and it's a trend different in the rest of Latin America, because well, Latin or Spanish-spoken music is more big than the Anglo music. So I think it's important. Yes, try to have the language, and if you have it, it's better. But you have also opportunities if not. In FIMPRO, we also have translation for the international guests. simultaneous translation, interpretation. Sorry, I always complicate my mind with translation, interpretation. We have like simultaneous interpretation for all the guests and the main conference. But yes, of course, will be better if you speak Spanish.
Just to complement what Sergio was saying, a lot of artists from Europe, the US, etc., are fine speaking English as well. So when you're building a marketing plan, either you've got your PR media agency can actually do the simultaneous translations when they're doing interviews. A lot of the actual media do interviews in English and then put subtitles, etc. So I just wanted to compliment that. It's true what Sergio says. It's ideal to speak Spanish. You connect better, but don't commit the mistake of trying to translate your songs into Spanish or whatever to fit the Spanish market, because very often that doesn't work well when you see a bad accent in Spanish singing something. It's better for it to be in English. And very often historically, German artists or Austrian artists that have their songs, the two versions, one in German and one in English. Very often in Mexico, you release both. And in some cases, the German one works better than the English one. And in others, the English one works better. So it's artistically, it's good to keep it in the English version and try with the German, but mainly English versions.
That's also really good to know, this information. I think it will be everything from the questions. I don't see any other question in our chat, so I don't know if you have any extra comments that you like to express right now. Otherwise, I would hang over to you, Rian.
Okay, thank you very much for all these very inspiring contributions. I think we have all learned a lot today. It was very interesting to hear your inputs and to get this overview of the Mexican markets and the possibilities Austrian musicians and companies from the music industry have. And I really hope this was just the beginning of a long and fruitful collaboration between our two countries. And I would really like to thank all our speakers for taking the time today to be with us and to share your insights. And also to the guests that were listening and attending. Thank you so much for joining us. And as you might have read, this was only the first webinar of a series of webinars. And the next one will be on the 24th of March with a focus on South Africa. So we would be really happy if you would join us again. And for now, I really wish you a very nice evening. And thank you very much again for joining us. And let's stay in touch. So see you soon. Thank you.